Thank you, Craig, and good evening, everyone. Welcome to the 2013 counting of the Syd Barker Medal, the most important medal in football as far as everyone in this room is concerned. As good as 800 people in the room again tonight, which is absolutely amazing, and it's great to see you all. I need to especially welcome some key people. We've got match committee members here with us tonight, an unbelievably supportive group of people, many of whom have been key stakeholders in our footy club now for a long time, so thank you all again for your amazing help in 2013. I see lots of Shinboner Club ties when I look around, and the Shinboners are an amazing group of people. We had an incredible night earlier this year where more than $800,000 was raised, which went straight into our football department from our most treasured people. That was wonderful, and thanks again, and welcome to all the Shinboner Club members. Our chief coterie group, the Northerners, welcome to you, and thanks again for all of your help. Premiership Club members, Shimmer and Archer members, Inspire ladies, the Northern Lights, and the cheer squad, who I'm sure are very well represented here as well. Welcome, and thank you all for what's been a terrific assistance in season 2013. I know Craig just mentioned them before, but I'd like to really quickly say thank you to our unbelievable staff. We have around about 100 staff members, and they do an unbelievable job and work incredibly hard. We believe we have the best people in football who work for our club, but every time I walk in there, all the desks are full and everyone's working amazingly hard to drive us to where we want to go. So the staff don't get anywhere near enough recognition, but I want you all to put your hands together and thank the great staff of the North Melbourne Footy Club. Craig also mentioned the board, and I'm not going to go through them individually, but we thank them for what they do, and they do it for nothing. Also thank the beautiful wives of the board members who are very understanding is the right way to put it, and husbands, of course, Julie, and they allow our directors to pour an enormous amount of time into the club. And as I say, there are times when all the wives and husbands look at us and go, why the hell are you doing this when last time I checked you're not getting paid? So I appreciate all the efforts of the directors and thank them very much. I want to talk quickly tonight about the health of our footy club. Carl Delena, not long from now, will be announcing what will be an incredible profit figure. When I say not long from now, I'm not talking about tonight, but in the next month. It's a profit figure I could only have dreamed of when we took over back in 2008. And in an environment where close to half of the AFL footy clubs will post a loss in season 2013, the profit that we announce will be something I'm sure you'll all be really proud of. Our debt level sits at around $2.7 million. Again, in 2008, when this administration took over, it was hovering at close to $8 million. So for it to be at 2.7 and another $1 million washed off it this year is an extraordinary performance again from our staff who do such a great job. Talk about dreaming. I dream personally of the day that we're going to be debt free, and it's not going to be far away. As I said earlier, 800 grand plus raised and poured straight into our footy department, and that night that helped do that, the Shinboner night, was incredible. And I know I spoke to Brady Scanlon and Alex, who are here and sitting at my table. I'm not sure the great man Peter Scanlon is with us, and Angie, but it would be remiss of me if I didn't recognise publicly in front of our family the unbelievable performance and generosity and love that we received from the Scanlon family and Pete and Angie. And of course, if Pete is not here, Braids, please pass that back to Peter. I say it regularly, we would not be here if it wasn't for that unbelievable man. He's a giant of our footy club. 2013, just to talk about the health, saw our membership at record levels. For the first time in the club's history, we topped the 35,000 member mark. And there are now, and this is interesting, I reckon, for everyone here, there are now 6 clubs in the AFL whose membership figure is lower than ours. And I reckon that's great. Again, and it's going to be a bit of a theme, but back in 2008 we were stone motherless last. So, of course, there's a couple of expansion clubs in there now who have smaller memberships, but there are 4 other clubs who are beneath where we are, and we're heading north at 1,000 miles an hour. And again, that is a terrific performance from our staff. $2 million spent on resurfacing the ground, which is now Etihad size and AFL standard. And I know all of you that have been to Aegis Park would have seen what an incredible surface our players now have to train on. And not only in providing that surface, but also wiping off $1.5 million of owed debt to Etihad or to Melbourne Stadiums Limited. That's been a great result. Further enhanced our partnership with Southern Tasmania. We now have 4,000 plus members in Southern Tasmania, and that is fantastic. An estimated 50,000 new supporters of our club, which is huge. In 2013, North Melbourne were up in attendance, up in TV viewership, and in growth across the board, and that is as important as anything you're going to hear tonight. So as a club, we're in very good shape off-field, and I think everyone here should feel really good about that. We've got some great key off-field announcements coming up over the next month or so, which will underscore that health even further. So these are really exciting times. Brad Scott will be up to talk footy soon, and he may touch on a couple of those announcements. And it's appropriate that Brad will tell you about where we've been and where we're going and the steps that we've put in place to make sure that we are at the cutting edge of this great competition. I just want to say that since the end of our last game this year, I would have had, hundreds of guests, but probably more. People come up to me since the final siren blew at the MCG to finish our last home and away game, which, by the way, was a comfortable victory over Collingwood. And I enjoyed that enormously, and I'm sure you all did. But 100 people have stopped me in the street or at functions or whatever, and they have various things to say, but it's been a pretty recurring theme this year. They've said things along the lines of, geez, you blokes were stiff, should have been in the finals, win a couple of the close ones, you almost would have made the top 4. Each time in response to that, I say the same thing, and that is that we weren't stiff, we weren't good enough. 10 wins doesn't get you into the finals. And if we start believing we're stiff, we'll be back here next year saying the same thing. The best clubs in football ruthlessly pursue success, and we will do the same, believe me. But one of those 100 people, I want to just share with you a quick story that I shared with the board the other day. One of those 100 was a beautiful lady. I was going to say old lady because she would have been close to 80. And she wandered up to me at a function during the last month, introduced herself, and told me that she had supported the Kangaroos since she was a little girl. She was a beautiful lady. And she told me how much she loved the club, and she just wanted to come up and say hello. And we chatted for a while. And as she was about to walk away, I stopped her and I asked her what it was about the Kangaroos that she loved so much. And her response is one that'll stay with me forever. She said, I just love the club. We're shin boners, you know, never beaten. And she just walked off. And I stood there as she walked away, and I thought that those 2 words, I reckon, say more about our footy club than any others. Never beaten. Everyone in this room knows they tried to parcel us off to the Gold Coast 7 or 8 years ago. You now have to look at the health of this club to understand that we're never beaten. They said our facilities were the worst in footy and our players were paid in brown paper bags 10, 15 years ago. You only have to look at the health of our club now to know that we're never beaten. We have completely, since 2008, rebuilt this footy club, on and off the field. And people said at the time, when the vision was put together, that we were mad to clean out and start again. I don't reckon they're saying that now after we beat Geelong and Essendon and Collingwood in the last month of the season with 16 players playing for our team who'd played less than 100 games. So again, these ladies' words ring in my ears, never beaten. And I reckon these are 2 words that define all the great shin boners who've pulled on our jumper. I mentioned Arch and Shimmer before, Anthony Stevens, Brady Rawlings, who's here tonight, who epitomises everything that's amazing about shin boner. The stars of the 70s and 80s, you go back even earlier to Doc Aylett, to Albert Mantello, to Teaser, Laurie Dwyer, John Dugdale, Les Foote, I could keep going for another half an hour, but they all had one thing in common, and that was that they were never beaten. And I notice as I look around clubland that other clubs have lots of handles, lots of little key phrases that they run with, and they work for them. Always Hawthorn, we've heard a lot because the Hawks have just won the flag. We are Geelong, side by side. But this beautiful old lady, I reckon, a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago, said it best to me when she said, "We're shin boners," and then she paused and she said, "Never beaten." And that is what I love the most about this unbelievable football club. Have a great night.